Welcome back. Hey, the Canucks and the Oilers tonight. The Canucks putting a lineup out there that was not really their regular lineup, but that's okay. This ended up being a really good, really fun game. I enjoyed this one a lot. This might have been the most enjoyable game I've watched. And it had some regular season intensity. And remember, this is the first of three straight meetings between the Oilers and the Canucks. They round out the preseason against each other on Saturday, and then they meet for real next, I think it's Wednesday, right? It's the season opener for these guys. So, yeah, we'll see how things go on Saturday because there might be some bad blood in that game, too. Of course, this is the debut for Pettersson and Hughes, and what a difference they both made to the Canucks attack tonight. Pettersson looked good. If the wrist was bothering him at all, can't see it. It looked 100% to me. And Hughes, I thought, played quite well. There was just the one moment in this game where I went, oh, not that again. So he also was with Pullman, and I thought Pullman covered for him really well. Maybe that's the answer to who is going to play along with Hughes. And Pullman, considering he's a defensive defenseman, as long as that works, that's the best case scenario. It was Smith versus Halak, two older goaltenders. You wouldn't know it by the way they played tonight. They played very well. Garland fired one wide. The early jump was for the Canucks. I thought the Canucks, again, played pretty well. Dries had a shot that was saved. Bowie's was as well. Smith, pretty sharp early. And again, there were a lot of names in the Canucks lineup that I think are headed for Abbotsford. But, and there are certain players that I saw in the lineup, and I was like, really? You didn't waive them instead of Gadjevich? All right. So while I'm not as upset about Gadjevich being gone, I am baffled by some of the players that are still in the lineup rather than giving Yona another chance. McLeod then gave Halak his first test. Dickinson and Cassian had a little chat. There was a lot of back and forth between these teams tonight. A lot of talking at the ends of shifts and a lot of talking between benches, between penalty boxes. These teams don't like each other already. Hughes goes to the box. The Oilers get a power play. Draisaitl had a chance off the faceoff that was saved, but then we end up with a 5-on-3 for 18 seconds. During the 5-on-3, it took 8 seconds for that 5-on-3 to succeed. Leon Draisaitl from McDavid and Nurse at 650. And just absolutely fantastic passing and a nice goal. And that's just what happens when you're against the Oilers. Dangerous 5-on-4. And I thought this game could get ugly. I thought, if they score 5-on-4, this game could be like 7-8-0. Considering, again, the lineup the Canucks have out there is Pettersson and Hughes' first game in a long time. The Canucks did kill that off, though. The shots were 8-2 in favor of the Oilers at this stage of the game. Canucks then get a power play. Pettersson had a one-timer saved. He had a second one-timer as well that was blocked. And that's the thing. Pettersson's kind of got his own office when it comes to power plays, and he's taken those one-timers from there. That is another sign that Elias Pettersson is back to being Elias Pettersson. We didn't really see much of that last season, even before the injury. So if it's Pettersson from a couple years ago, good news. Oilers kill it off. Smith playing third defenseman as well, which was a storyline tonight. Smith, and I know he's always a guy who comes out and he's active at clearing the puck, but really, dump and chase doesn't work with Smith. If you dump it in and Smith can get it, and as John Garrett said, in some cases the Canucks were trying to avoid icing the puck, but if you avoid the icing call so you can get that line change in and you give it to Smith, he takes advantage of the line change. Barry had a shot that was blocked. The Oilers controlling the puck again at this point. Smith stops a Pettersson rush chance that followed that. Podkolzin with a net crash. Smith was down and Podkolzin goes to the box. I have noticed with Vasily Podkolzin that he crashes the net a lot. He's going to have to change the angle of it. He's going to have to learn to hold up because either he's going to take a lot of goalie interference calls or a team's going to take exception. And we know what happens in the world of hockey when teams take exception with you running their goaltender. It can get ugly. So that's something that's going to have to change. I love that he has a nose for the net and that he's always trying to get those goals. But he's going to have to watch because there was clearly goalie interference. And it was a lucky thing that Smith was okay there. So Oilers get the power play, which was dangerous again. Dries, shot blocks. The Canucks killed it off. But then Burrows takes a penalty and the Canucks right back in the box. The Oilers right back to the power play. This was already their fourth, and on their first three, they had 10 shots. So very dangerous. And they score on the fourth as well. It's McDavid from Draisaitl and Smith at 18:34, and this is what we're talking about. The Canucks penalty kill. They dump it in on Smith to get the line change, and Smith goes, okay, and it is a stretch pass from Smith to Draisaitl to McDavid, and it's in the back of the net. I understand people weren't happy when Mike Smith got re-signed yet again, but his numbers were great last year. And if he can play like this, yeah, I think the Oilers are going to be happy with him this year. I understand that there's some concern about there not being a youthful goaltender with the Oilers right now, but Smith's a very good goaltender. So the Oilers net crash in the final minute. Halak covers, and we go to the second period with it 2-0 for the Oilers. And again, I thought this could get ugly. Put Coles into Petan, nearly scores early. I thought Petan had a decent game. I know he takes some flack right now from Canuck fans over Gadjevich being waived. I saw a couple comments of that. I can't believe they waived Gadjevich, and Petan's clearly not an NHL player. And well, tonight he looked good. Canucks then get an early power play. McDavid on Lockwood after colliding with Draisaitl. So Lockwood, a little collision with Draisaitl. Draisaitl a little bit shaken up. He was okay, stays in the game. But McDavid let him know he didn't appreciate it. But I will say this, McDavid shouldn't be the guy that feels like he has to go and do that, because you don't want McDavid engaging with Lockwood and then potentially getting hurt himself. On that power play, Hughes ends up scoring a nice one from Miller and Chason at 1:56. Chason was screening on the goal. I think Chason had his best game of the preseason. I haven't been that impressed with Chason at points, but tonight I thought he played well. And I also think part of it may be that Chason is good with Pettersson. So we saw Chason getting power play goals playing with McDavid and Draisaitl. Maybe Chason will have some natural chemistry with Pettersson on the power play as well. Dickinson fires one wide after that. There was a crossbar then for Chason. Rathbone draws a power play. So the Canucks kind of getting some control here. I thought Jack Rathbone had another excellent game. The Oilers controlled the first minute of that power play, and then Petan can't bury one, and a scrum ensued after that. But Petan does bury one on the following faceoff. He scores from Pettersson and Hughes at 5:38, and it was a shot pass by Pettersson, and it was just a perfect tip by Nick Petan in front of the net. The momentum's with the Canucks, and a lot of this has to do with Pettersson. Pettersson's play was just elevating the Canucks game tonight. Hughes had a shot that was saved. Halak then denies Puljujarvi. The Oilers, dangerous in transition. You've got to watch for that. Every time they get the puck and they clear it out, you've got to be careful, because it can be in the back of your net quickly. The Oilers get their fifth power play, and it's Burrows again going to the box. We then get 125 of 5-on-3 because the Canucks had too many men on the ice, and it was 5 guys. And it wasn't just like a bad line change. It was 5 guys were out there, so you can't be doing that. So that's a 5-on-3. Post for McDavid. Pullman cleared, but Smith puts it right back. So this is where Smith, as that third defenseman, is so dangerous. Puljujarvi had a shot saved. Draisaitl hits the post. The Canucks survived that 5-on-3 and the resulting 5-on-4 as well. Ryan, though, would score from Keith and Fogle at 10:33, which was not long after the power play ended, and the Canucks seemed kind of tired and a little bit out of sync and out of sorts. So the Oilers make them pay, and they retake the lead at 3-2. McLeod then had a rush that was sent wide. The Canucks go back to the power play. Petan fans on one. Pettersson then had a shot that was saved. The Oilers cleared out. Good passing. It felt like they needed more shots on that power play. But again, they got 2 power play goals tonight. I think the Canucks are happy with that. They do need more 5-on-5. But again, this wasn't their usual roster. So I don't get that upset or concerned about that. Oilers kill it off. The Canucks press after that. Ryan was then denied by Halak. Smith started that play as well. So again, Mike Smith absolutely lethal with the puck. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins then had a shot that deflected wide. The Oilers pressed with 4 minutes left. Nurse had a shot that was saved. Garland had a shot that was saved as well. And of course, we'll keep an eye on Garland and Pettersson and see what those two can do together, because it was a really nice pass by Pettersson that set up that shot by Garland. Halak then robs McDavid, and just McDavid and Draisaitl together, just really dangerous. They really are, and they were together tonight. And I still get the feeling that for the Oilers to have that maximum impact on the game, they have to split them up and have them on separate lines and get their wingers going. But the Oilers press in the final 2 minutes, and they keep the lead going into the third period. Third period, Chase on tips one wide. Good back and forth action early. Pullman had a shot that tips just wide. And then Petan had an opportunity that was stopped as well. So again, Petan prominent, in part because of who was in the lineup tonight, but he played well. The first whistle in this period isn't until the 4:54 mark, showing just how free-flowing this was and how wide open this was. Really fun first 5 minutes. Hyman then shot blocks as the Canucks were seeking the tying goal. And if Smith sees it, he stops it. And that's basically the rule tonight. The Patan goal was a perfect tip. The Hughes goal, he didn't see that. Chiasson screening him. So if he saw it tonight, he was saving it. Bailey ties up Draisaitl during a 4-on-3 break. The Oilers press. This was Bailey's first game as well of the preseason for the Canucks. I thought Justin Bailey played well. We'll see if he ends up on the fourth line. Smith had a stretch pass again. The Canucks, though, end up with their fifth power play. Smith saves a Pettersson one-timer and then stopped a Patan shot as well. Podkolzin with a backhander that was saved. Nice backhander by Podkolzin, too. Rathbone then tests Smith's glove. Things get kind of brawly after a McEwen net crash, which sets up what happens later. McEwen clearly kind of ticked off the Oilers on that one, and McEwen's willing to drop the gloves. Nurse and McEwen both go to the box on that one. Bailey with the net drive. Good poke check by Smith. Dickinson was then denied. The Canucks in control. Smith looked fantastic. The Canucks had a lot of opportunities in that third period. Smith wasn't letting anything in. Podkolzin to Miller was blocked out. Sevier was then robbed by Halak. He is on a professional tryout as well. Sevier doesn't have a contract yet. The Oilers finally getting some chances. Hughes, those drop passes are back, and he's lucky that Pullman came over and got it, because there's times with Hughes where he does these drop passes, and you're like, where are you putting that puck? There are opposing jerseys in the area. Please don't do the drop. Don't do the blind drop pass. And it's something he's done since his rookie year. And at times, I was like, where is that supposed to be going? So Tanev could cover for him. Maybe Pullman can as well. Teams were getting chirpy. This is where you notice. At the end of every shift, these guys were pausing before leaving the ice. You could have called too many men quite a bit in this game. They were pausing before leaving the ice to let each other know, I don't like the look of your face. So there's an Oilers goal. It's immediately waved off for goalie interference. Hyman was in the crease and interfered with Halak. There are no challenges in this game. So preseason, no challenges. And you know what's funny? I kind of like that. I know. It's sacrilege, right? Always get the call right. I kind of like the idea of no challenges. That's done. What's done is done. Turris then hits the outside of the net, and then McEwen and Cassian had this awkward exchange, and the linesman gets in the middle, and then on the ensuing face-off, they drop the gloves. The fight didn't last very long. Cassian gets hurt. He had his helmet off, and his arms were tied up with McEwen, so he appeared to hit his head on the ice. Immediately, McEwen was the one that was like, trainers, doctor, come out here. Because it looked like Cassian was out cold on the ice for at least a few moments there. He left the ice with a towel on his forehead, and so I'm hoping it's not a concussion for Cassian, but it may very well be. And you could see McEwen was upset as he left the ice. Like he wasn't doing the posing that we used to see with enforcers back in the day. He was clearly kind of rattled that had happened. So again, hopefully this doesn't result in an injury to Cassian. Hopefully it looked worse than what it was. Ryan then had a chance that was saved. The game was really chippy, chirps after each play. A lot of chatting, and again, remember, this is the first of 3 in a row between these teams. They will hate each other by opening night. McDavid driving for another. The Oilers would press. The Canucks clear it out. They managed to pull the goalie with 2:45 left. Pettersson saved a Hyman shot. Hyman had a few opportunities to get the empty net goal to finish this. With 1:31 left, the Canucks call a timeout. Patan couldn't bury one, but Draisaitl missed the net as well, and then he did it. We all knew Mike Smith was going to try it. He tries for the empty net, and it missed wide, and I'm pretty sure the Canuck player, it looked like it deflected that way, so I don't know that it was influenced. I know they called it icing on the play, and again, there's no replay on icing. But I was kind of disappointed it didn't go in the net. I kind of thought it would be fun if Mike Smith scored a goal. And you could see him smiling after, like, well, it's preseason, I'll give it a shot. The Oilers did hang on, but the Canucks had 16 shots in that third period. So again, Canucks, a lot of second-tier players out there, but I thought they played well. It was a very physical game in terms of these teams not liking each other a whole lot and a lot of battles in front of the net. And yeah, it was an enjoyable watch tonight. So there you go. The Oilers win the game 3-2. They were the better team overall, mostly, I think. And definitely special teams. The Oilers' power play last year was 11th in the NHL. They're going to be higher than 11th this year. That is low. And this is a team that should have a top 5 power play in the NHL once it gets clicking. But for Vancouver, their power play looks like it could be pretty good as well. And I kept thinking, once you have Besser out there and you got Horvat, you've got the full team together, this could be a really good power play. So this battle between Vancouver and Edmonton could be a lot of fun to watch this year. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.